आवाज नहीं है?
Maybe we can start then because of the मैंने मैसेज कर दिया नहीं देखो 20 पे आपका एड्रेस है आ रही है
हाँ ठीक है 420 इज ओके।
अगर नहीं आ पाए सर सो आई थिंक फिर वी विल कंटिन्यू।
तो फिर आप एक बार के लिए उस समय वो बता दीजिएगा प्रोग्रेस ऑफ ज्ञान इन द यूनिवर्सिटी। फिर अगर सर जब आएंगे तो फिर उनका इंट्रोडक्शन के लिए मैं आपको इनवाइट कर दूंगी।
हाँ सर यूजुअली आ जाएंगे अराउंड 420।
सर डीन्स और एचओडी के ग्रुप में एक बार डाल दीजिए ना कि वो लोग ज्वाइन कर ले। कोई दिख नहीं रहा मुझे यहाँ पे। पवन सर है दिनेश सर है सरिता मैम।
आनंद जी आ गए? We can start then.
आनंद जी को बोलो एक बार। सर या तो आ जाओ। लेकिन मैडम मैं कैसे कर सकती? Professor Valerie, are you there? Yeah, okay.
So ma'am, once Dr. Anand is here, we can start then.
Sir, deans के ग्रुप में एक बार।
हाँ वो डाल दिया, मैसेज डाल दिया। वो आपके ऑफिस में आ रहे हैं?
क्या तो यही रहे पर मुझे नहीं पता वो कहाँ है। बात हुई क्या सबसे?
क्योंकि सर ज्वाइन कर लेंगे मेरे ख्याल में टाइम से, फिर वी विल बी डिलेड।
In that case, we'll cut down portions. What to do? Those who are visible will continue with them. सारिका मैम भी visible नहीं हो रही है मुझे।
वो तो अभी थे ऑफिस में, कहीं इधर होंगे।
हाँ सारिका मैम
मैडम मैंने ऑफ किया हुआ है, मैं यही हूँ। आप जब कहेंगे मैं ज्वाइन कर लूंगी।
नहीं मैम हमें तो आप चाहिए ही चाहिए। अब मेरा कहीं चला गया।
कुछ काम कर रहे हो तो अच्छा नहीं लगता है फोटो दिखना ना।
अरे मैम यू आर सो
हाँ ये चलो कर लीजिए। तो ये सैंक्शन करेंगे पे करने के लिए या ये खुद करेंगे? कौन?
अभी तो मैं दूसरी
अप्रूवल ले लेंगे ना तो हाँ बोल।
आई थिंक मैम वी कैन स्टार्ट।
अच्छा मैम इसमें ना मुझे कुछ डाउट्स हैं तो आपको इसका जो ये पेमेंट वाला कहीं डॉक्यूमेंट में लिखा होगा ना उसको एक
बड़ी मेरे को लग रहा है डबल
हाँ और वो मिनट्स वाला
डॉक्टर सुनीता
जस्ट मिनट
Dr. Tawar, we have a huge echo here. I don't know if everybody gets it.
Maybe I have joined.
You have joined on 2 devices, I think. So that's why there is echo.
Okay, sir, can we start?
Yes, I think we can start now.
Good evening, all. I, Dr. Sunita Tawar, Faculty, Department of Management Studies, Central University of Haryana, and GIAN Course Coordinator, would like to welcome you all on behalf of Central University of Haryana on the course, on the inaugural session of GIAN course on Strategic Foresight and Innovation, Mega Trends that Reshape Our World. I would like to welcome Honorable Vice Chancellor, Sir, Professor Tankeshwar Kumar, for gracing this occasion by his presence. He has always been a constant source of encouragement and support to all of us. I would like to welcome the deans, HODs, and other faculty members of Central University of Haryana and the participants in the country. It's a privilege to get an opportunity to conduct an important course under the Ministry of Education as a GIAN initiative. It's an application-oriented 2-week online course which will run under the Ministry of MOE and was sanctioned under GIAN scheme. In this very course, an expertise in exposure to interact with the foreign faculty on different aspects of entrepreneurship. The course will run from 14th of March to 25th March 2022. The timings of the course will be from 4 to 6 p.m. and it's on digital mode. And at the end of this course, we will conduct an examination for final certification. This course will be taken by Professor Valerie Chester from De Soto Business School, Spain, and I hope all our students will be benefited with his wide experience and expertise on the subject. The primary objective of this course is to predict, anticipate, and create the future opportunities. This is the 5th course
I think she has lost the connection.
Yeah.
that is Montreal Technology University, a faculty from US, etc. Now to begin with the program, I would like to request Amit to play the Saraswati Vandana, that is a prayer to Goddess Saraswati for flow of wisdom. Amit.
या कुन्देन्दु तुषारहारधवला या शुभ्रवस्त्रावृता या वीणावरदण्डमण्डितकरा या श्वेतपद्मासना
Sir, is it audible?
Yes.
Now I would like to request Amit for Kulgeet to play the Kulgeet of CUH for end on.
Again, I think she has lost the connection.
विद्याधनं सर्धनं प्रधानम् न
Sunita,
अमित, मेरे यहाँ तो कोई आवाज ही नहीं आ रही है। डिस्कनेक्ट करके ही कनेक्ट किए। आनंद जी यहाँ बैठे, उनका नहीं चल रहा। वीसी सर ज्वाइन कर गए क्या? तू क्या कर रहा है? मैं देखो, आनंद जी मेरे रूम में बैठे हैं, हमारा तो नहीं चल रहा है। मुझे सब दिख रहा है पर वॉइस तो नहीं जा रही है।
मैम आ रही है आपकी आवाज?
आपकी आवाज आ रही?
हाँ, आ रही, आवाज आ रही।
तो
कंटिन्यू कर लीजिए मैडम।
I think Vice Chancellor has joined us. Amit, can you please confirm whether sir has joined or not?
नहीं, अभी तो नहीं किया शायद सब नजर आएंगे।
Okay. So now I'd like to request Professor Sarika Sharma, officiating registrar, Central University of Haryana, Dean, School of Education, to speak about the university. Professor Sarika ma'am.
Yeah, very good afternoon to everyone. This is a great opportunity to speak on the GIAN event, which is being organized by Central University of Haryana. And I could see the main coordinator of the GIAN program, Professor Gunjan Goel, and we have a GIAN coordinator of this particular event, Dr. Sunita Tawar. Madam, I really would like to appreciate and congratulate you that you have started this GIAN program in the online mode. I also remember that once you have organized this in an offline mode. This is one another great achievement from the side of yourself. As well as I also welcome and appreciate and acknowledge Professor Dinesh, who is Dean Academics, in which to whom I can see here, and the special efforts of Professor Tankeshwar Kumar, the Honorable Vice Chancellor Sir, who has given us permission to organize this long-awaited GIAN event. So, if we talk of the university, this university is being started in the year 2009 with the Parliamentary Act and where the 14 universities has been established. So the Central University of Haryana was also established in the year 2009. And since then, many of the UG, PG and research courses is being conducted. Presently, we have 72 academic programs, and these academic programs provide a lot of opportunity to all the field of the students across the country. And now, with the help of our Dean Academics and Dean Research, we do have started the international office at Central University of Haryana, so that the international students can, the students from outside the country can also come and join this university as well. So, if I talk of some of the more GIAN courses about the university and the GIAN courses, we have already organized 15 GIAN courses, and this GIAN courses is titled as Global Initiative of Academic Network. And in newly established Central Universities, Central University of Haryana has, I think, organized maximum of the GIAN courses, I must say. And I also would like to acknowledge here that the Indian scientific and technological capacity of global excellence can be seen at Central University of Haryana. And in order to be the best international experience into our system of education, which enables interaction of students and faculty with the best academic and industry expert from all over the world, and also share their experiences and expertise to motivate the people to work on Indian problems. And here I could see the external expert, Professor Valerie. I welcome you as an external expert, and I think I have met you also once when you came to Central University of Haryana, and we spent a very good time. And your I also remember the first GIAN course which was started by Dr. Sunita Tawar. I myself has joined as a faculty of that GIAN course. At that time, I think, Madam, he has visited India in the Central University of Haryana. So once again, I really would like to welcome you on this online platform, and certainly after this COVID is now over. So in the very next visit, you can also again once again come to Central University of Haryana. Central University of Haryana is presently doing a very good work in research, developments and patents also. Many of the patents has been awarded and filed in the area of research also. The faculty members are publishing a lot of papers in a very short span of time, and we have got a very good name at the national level. So at international level also, we are now trying our best to do so. With all these words, I would like to congratulate the organizers, Professor Gunjan Goyal, Dr. Sunita Tawar and her team, as well as Department of Management Studies. I can also see Dr. Anand ne bhi join kara hai. So because his support is very much valuable, we do have here Professor Neelam Sangwan. She is a Dean Research, and she has taken an initiative to start an international office in this university so that the students from the other places can also join. One another course is being sanctioned by Ministry of Education. Uska naam hai, it is also something like network initiative in my environmental microbiology under Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya scheme. And through that program of Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya scheme in environmental microbiology, we can invite many of the experts across the globe, not only from the country but from the outside the country. And in these small initiatives, we can try our best to give certain good things, certain good knowledge, certain good information, and make our students update what is going on across the world. So wish you all the best, and thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Sarika, for defining what the activities are going on campus in the university, and how we have add on so many feathers to our cap, and how we are going to proceed. So, very thanks to you. Now I'd like to request Dr. Anand Sharma, Dean, School of Business and Management Studies, Head, Department of Management Studies, to spread light on some of the achievements of Department of Management Studies, Central University of Haryana. Dr. Anand Sharma.
Thank you, Dr. Sunita ji. Am I audible? So, first of all, hello, Dr. Gunjan, am I audible?
Yes. Audible hai.
Thank you. So, in fact, it's a matter of great privilege for us that we are organizing GIAN program. This is fourth in the series of various GIAN programs organized by Dr. Sunita Tawar ji in our department, and local coordinator Dr. Gunjan Goel is also there. In fact, Department of Management Studies was established in the year 2010. Presently, we are conducting two courses, that is MBA program, full-time 2 year, as well as PhD in management. Our department has been organizing various events from the time to time, which prepares our students ready for the industry. Keeping this in view, our department has been organizing a finishing school program, that is personality development program for management students. As a part of personality development, we keep on interacting with industry experts as well as academia who can sharpen up the final skills of our students who are joining industry. In this series, we have conducted international conferences, various national conferences, symposia, seminars, workshops. In this series, two events are important. Last year we organized national level research methodology workshop, which was attended by more than 800 participants throughout the country, and it was organized in online mode. So this was very beneficial because due to COVID, many scholars were not able to join offline courses at that time. So these are the various activities which we have been organizing. I am pleased to share that our department students were placed in the last year, mostly in the last 2-3 batches. If I see, most of the students have been as many as 20 students were selected as officers in various public sector banks. Other than this, various students have joined their own industry or they have take up higher studies, that is PhD. So once again, I congratulate Dr. Sunita ji that she has been organizing GIAN program, and this is fourth in the series of various programs which she has organized. And other than this, she has also organized Entrepreneurship Development Camp, EDCs. These programs are entrepreneurship awareness camps. These are very much required, keeping in view the employability gap in our country. Certainly, these kind of programs will give a boost to the employability of our students. So with this, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity, part of this program. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Anand. Now I'd like to request Professor Gunjan Goel, Local Coordinator, GIAN Program, Central University of Haryana, to speak about the progress of GIAN courses in our university. Professor Gunjan Goel. Sir.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Sunita. So being the local coordinator for these GIAN programs, which is like which is stated as Global Initiative for Academic Network. At CUH, I am here to give a brief information on the GIAN programs which we have conducted so far in the CUH. The first two GIAN programs were conducted in 2016, and till date we have completed 15 programs, and all of these programs are from the diverse areas. Like some of these programs are from the entrepreneurship area, then food sciences, biotechnology, environmental sciences, and education. So for these programs from the Ministry of Education, we have received more than 1 crore of rupees to conduct all these programs. And this is our 16th program. Although this program was scheduled in 2020, however, due to the COVID situation, as we all are aware of that pandemic, so there was a halt in conducting this program. And finally, the Ministry of Education approved that we can conduct this program in online mode. So we have decided to conduct this program in online mode, and this present GIAN program, which is Strategic Foresight and Innovation, it will be held from March 14 to 25th, and it will be completely conducted in online mode. And I'm sure that this course will provide an excellent opportunity to the participants who are from different institutions to learn about the entrepreneurship avenues from our subject expert, Professor Valerie Christoph, who belongs to Gisto Business School, Spain. And with this, I'm thankful to Dr. Sunita to coordinate this activity, and to our expert, Professor Valerie. And I'm sure that we will have some future collaborations with the team from Spain. So thank you all. Thanks for being the part of this GIAN program.
Thank you, Professor Gunjan, for collaborating for all these GIAN programs in the Central University of Haryana, and thanks for all of your support. It is you who is taking care of all sort of conduct of GIAN courses, and we are thankful to IIT Kharagpur that they have given a permission to conduct this course online at this present time, when it is very important, so that many number of participants can join this course. And no doubt today also more than 75 students, participants, faculty, student, industrialists, and others have joined this course. So thanks to this. With this, I would like to welcome our expert speaker on the topic Strategic Foresight and Innovation, Professor Valerie Christoph. He is the lead researcher at the Open Eco Innovation Research and Professor at De Soto Business School, Spain. He was a managing director of Association for Open Eco Innovation. Previously, he was holding a position of director of Entrepreneurship and Innovation Program at Technology de Monterrey University, Mexico. In addition to this, Professor Valerie was the CEO of Disruptive Foresight think tank and international consultancy and training program company dedicated for preparing companies for disruptive changes in their industries, as well as designing competitive internal innovation management system. He has more than 10 years of extensive professional experience as a consultant for such international companies such as Estafeta, Gazprom, WTC Industrial, ABP, Contitech, Piazza, and some of them. His latest work is in the field of eco-innovation and ecopreneurs. Professor Valerie is an expert in the field of corporate innovation, entrepreneurship, and creativity. Apart from consulting, he has guided more than 20 startups from development of business models to prototyping and successful market entry. He is an active member of International Society for Development and Sustainability and Association for Business Communication, where he is currently nominated for the position of Vice President for Caribbean, Mexico, Central and South America. He constantly represents himself at international conferences and forums related to entrepreneurship and innovation. And he was a keynote speaker in Startup Week Latin America in 2015. And other than this, I would like to mention here that he is one of the first expert speaker for first GIAN course in 2016 in Central University of Haryana, where he has gotten opportunity to visit to this place physically, and a student have benefited with him. At that time, he was working in Monterrey Technology University, Mexico. And right now he is in De Soto Business School, Spain. And definitely we have a lot of plan to explore this collaboration in terms of research, in terms of student exchange, in terms of other activities related to the same. So without taking much of the time, I just would like Professor Valerie to take the session and to introduce first about the program, its objectives, and then the session. So you're once again welcome, Professor Valerie.
Okay, thank you. I would like to start with talking a little bit about the GIAN program and about my experience with the Central University of Haryana. Okay, first of all, I think this kind of programs are amazing. I see how vast are they, how well funded are these kind of programs are in India, and honestly, I have never seen anything like this on such a big scale, nor in Mexico, where I lived for a long time, nor even in Spain. So in this kind of way, you see how important education is in India, how important this kind of collaborations are important, and that the government really pays attention to very necessary things, because we are all in education, and probably we all believe that education is something that really moves the world and changes the world, and brings us to a better future. So that's one. Secondly, about my experience with the Central University of Haryana, as it was already said, um, I first came to university in 2016, if I'm not mistaken, and honestly, that was my first time in India. Though I was planning for that trip for a long time, and I was always, waiting to go, but at that time, particularly, it was possible, and honestly, I don't know. I was very happy to go, and I was very surprised with everything that I saw, because honestly, like, bad for me, but being so far away, we don't really know so much about India, and when I came, I understood how, different is the life there, how the culture is different, and the way to see the world is different. But in like other perspective, it's, this kind of differences, they enrich my and any, participants experience and the way to see the world, because the way, for example, I act in Mexico, and the way I see the world through the Mexican lens, and the way I see the world from this, living from the lens of living in Spain, is totally different from the way I saw the world in India. And yeah, honestly, I can just say it was the best experience in my life. And then I came once again, and I was always fascinated by all the trips. And when I came in 2016, the campus was still under construction. I think some of the parts were not yet built. And unfortunately, in 2020, I was not able to come because of the pandemic and to see how the campus is. But even in 2016, I could see so much potential down there. And right now that I'm, hearing that you've started the international programs, and the research activity is growing in the university, and I just see so much potential down there. That's the second thing that I wanted to tell, that I'm very, very happy to collaborate once again with the university. And yeah. And the third thing, I wanted to say thanks to the faculty and to Dr. Tankeshwar Kumar for inviting and organizing this kind of programs, and giving the green light for the online and virtual version of this course as well. I don't know him personally yet, I hope, but I see that this kind of programs are happening in the campus and happening in the university, and it already tells me a lot about the person who promotes this kind of programs. And yeah, hopefully one day we can have a chai and talk about some stuff. And finally, I would like to say thanks, huge thanks to Dr. Tawar. The thing is that we met, I think, for the first time in Mexico in 2016 as well, I think, or even 2015. I don't remember right now. And but since the time I came to India, she basically adopted me and showed me around and made sure that I feel comfortable and that I have everything that I need to perform all my duties during the class and during the GIAN program. And since that time, we are collaborating a lot on many projects and a lot of research stuff as well, and some courses. And we already did such stuff, and we have some stuff in the pipeline as well. And to be honest, and this is where I see the as well the benefits of the GIAN program, that we would never probably find each other without this kind of program, and we would never start such a close and deep collaboration with each other without this program. And yeah, to be honest, these are just the best benefits. And I want to just make a small note before we start the course, that I believe in this. I believe in collaboration, and my research is particularly about the collaboration in eco-innovation. And I would like to invite any of you to contact me anytime you want and need. And if you need any support in whatever you're doing, if you have any kind of ideas about the research and research collaboration, and I don't know, if you want to approach my university in terms of international programs or anything like this, please use me as a resource, as a contact, and I'm always happy to be there and help. And yeah, I just hope that we're going to have close collaboration and continue with it in the future. And the more, the better. That's what I wish. Okay, so let's start the course. Let me share the presentation with you. Okay, I hope you can see me and I hope you can hear me. If you don't, please tell me and write in the chat, and so that I would know that you're still there, and that I'm not talking to myself. So very, very briefly, let me once again tell you who I am. Right now, I work in the University of Deusto. It's in Spain, in the north, in the part of the Spain, in the region that is called the Basque Country. And prior to that, I worked in University of Alcalá, that is a university in Madrid. And prior to that, I actually started my academic career in the University of Tecnológico de Monterrey in Mexico. As you can see, I have a lot of lines in this PowerPoint presentation right now. It's a lot about me. To be honest, I do and I did a lot of stuff, and my experience is mostly project-based and research-based. So that's why I have so many little lines. But I started as a consultant, as a business consultant, and as it was already mentioned, in some big international companies. And it was interesting when I first came to Mexican. I came in 2010, yes, less this time, and Mexico was growing like crazy, to be honest. I mean, sorry for the word, but it was so many opportunities down there. International companies are coming, and the industrial zone was growing, and they all needed a support from foreigners, from people from Europe and United States, to help to jumpstart the processes and help to find this connection between European experts and Mexican experts, and Sorry, I just saw the message that there was a problem with the network. Once again, if there's something, please tell me. um, okay. Anyway, so um, it was an amazing time to start as a professional, and that's why I did so much consulting, and then and I did so much trainings in the companies. And then at some point, I was invited to uh, give a course. No, first it was a conference in university, and then it was a course, and then I thought that I should probably get back to academia because this is something that I always liked and enjoy, and yeah, get back to the research. And after that, yeah, I focused a lot on research and teaching. However, I've never stopped thinking about as well my own business. And the interesting part about, or interesting thing about Mexico is that um, you see the value of entrepreneurship down there, because the country and the economy of the country is mostly based on the small and medium-sized businesses. And there you can have like your little tiny business, and with that you will be earning much more than sometimes people in the big companies and firms and international firms. And that is why this ecosystem and this environment of entrepreneurship was very vibrant, and particularly in the city where I was working. So that's how I got into directing entrepreneurship programs, and related to innovation. And as well, our program, there was a very interesting program. It was a bachelor's one, and I was directing it. And basically there, the students, they were not able to graduate after their 4 or 5 years of education without having their own business that was legally constituted and that was already functioning. And of course, it was enormous pressure for the students, but in the end, those students, they were already graduating with with their big interesting projects, and something that they could continue. And they were already having their place to work. And they were already, some of them, they were already getting the money from their businesses. So from that time, I saw this like a great value in entrepreneurship and innovation. And yeah, and I stick to this topic in my that I teach, and as well in the research that I do. Another interesting thing is that by this time I was coaching, or kind of mentoring, the business incubator that was starting in Germany. And yeah, this was one point of time, and then I moved to Spain, and I saw the entrepreneurship ecosystem here in Spain. And I saw how different, the perspectives of people are on entrepreneurship in different countries. So if Mexico was about like all about entrepreneurship, in Germany, people were scared to become an entrepreneur. So Germany is still a lot about big businesses that enter a big firm and you work there all your life and you retire from that firm, like this stability. So that was Germany, and they never thought about opening businesses. And if yes, it was very, very like little and rare occasions. And when I came to Spain, there was totally a different perspective. They didn't want to be entrepreneurs, and they didn't want to be, work in the big companies. Everybody in Spain wants to be a public officer, work for the government, because this is the most stable job that they can have here. And unfortunately, the entrepreneurship ecosystem is not very well developed here. And I can see it clearly, and this is how I understood that this, push and motivation for entrepreneurship is very different in different countries. And developed, in quotes, countries like European countries and United States, they're not always the leaders in terms of this types of programs and ecosystems. And that in developing countries such as Latin America and Asia and Russia and India. Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm hearing some noise. So everything is okay? I think, yeah, okay. Anyway, so I was saying that the entrepreneurship grows much faster in developing countries, and this is what I see. And as well, this is what I saw in India. And well, and I see it now, I've just read the statistics about the amount of unicorns that were created probably in the last year in India. And when I first came to Central University of Haryana, it was very interesting because I met with I'm not sure. I think it was the entrepreneurship club, and there were some engineering students, and they were showing me their projects, and I was just fascinated, by what they were doing, and their ideas, and the once again the drive and motivation that they had, and that's why, to be honest, I believe that India right now is one of the best places to be as an entrepreneur. And well, on so many levels. When I came to India for the first time, I saw how many opportunities are there, in terms of making business, in terms of starting something on your own. And, the money's there, the market is there, the people are there, the brains are there, the drive and motivations are there. So for me, right now, India is probably one of the best places to have your own business. And once again, and we're talking about right now. And if we are thinking about the future, and we're going to talk about this in the course as well. I just see more and more opportunities coming, from all over the world, and I think that if people understand it right now, if they see these opportunities, if they really believe, that these opportunities exist, it is possible to start something now, even if it is little, and then catch this wave of development of the whole country and the entrepreneurship in the country, and actually drive this wave up, and achieve many things, whatever you are wishing, in terms of if it is, money or some kind of purpose projects like environmental projects or social projects. So yeah, in general, I see that India is a very, very great place and base for entrepreneurship programs and development. Anyway, so that is the part of my life where I am an entrepreneur, and I always try to, coach people, and I always try to have my own businesses so that I can literally bring my experience to the class, or bring my experience to my coaching sessions with businesses. The types of businesses that I do, they are not the unicorns. I'm not planning on that, but I'm planning each time, or each idea that I have, it's about the little business that I can create, and then I can put my people to manage it so that I won't have to be there for a long time, and that will generate the steady revenue each month. I'm not talking about the millions, but I'm talking about the steady amount of money. So yeah, in the last 10 years, I had training companies and uh, translation services as well. That was in Mexico, and my latest programs were related to international, what was it, like internships, for students from developed countries to or from developing countries to work in startups. And as well, the last one is the learning management system. So that is basically the entrepreneurship part. And from my research part, at some point, I moved my research from just innovation to eco-innovation, and then I focused a lot on the topic of open eco-innovations, basically how to use collaboration and different kind of schemes for open innovation to potentialize the internal R&D processes in in the company. And once again, I basically focused it on environmental issues because I think that we have problems and issues and challenges as a humanity and society with environmental issues. However, I also believe that we have all the resources and brains and sometimes even the infrastructure to solve all these kind of problems. Well, the only thing that we have to do is kind of connect people, connect these programs, and start working together. And there where my research lies. And in my university, I'm a part of a research group, a bigger research group in innovation and sustainability, but also I manage a smaller group that is an international group on open eco-innovation, and we have people from Spain, from Switzerland, from Russia, and as well from India, that we are all working and promoting this idea of open innovation and collaboration for eco-innovation. So that is me. You can see in front of you the my contacts, my LinkedIn or my Facebook. Please find me, add me, contact me whenever you want or whenever you need, and I'll be always happy to get back to you when I have time. Okay, so having said that, let's talk a little bit about the course. So once again, we've already talked about the dates. It is from 14th to 24th or 25th of March. We are meeting from 4 to 6 Indian Standard Time. Here is the link that you can use to enter the course. And as well, just for you to know, we have the learning management system, the platform, where you can find all the information about the course and all the materials I'll be posting there. And as well, additionally to the course and to the lectures that I'll be giving, I want you to participate and to answer some questions. These are not the homeworks. These are some just little tiny snippets of information and questions that should trigger your curiosity about certain topics. Let's say it like this. So you will find them in this platform. The platform is called Schoology, and there is an access code that you have to input when you enter. It's this is the access code. So you enter, you register, you put the code, and I'll already see you in the system, and you will be able to see all the materials and information and the little questions that I was telling you about. And as well, finally, there is another link. It's here. It's a more visual representation of the course, of the content, as well. You know, some of the materials might be there as well, but the last thing is just it's the same as the Schoology, just a little bit more visual, if you might be interested in that as well. Okay, so this is it for the housekeeping. Let's start with the course. And first, let's try to understand what are we actually talking about. You know, what is it? Strategic foresight. Why are we mixing it with innovation? And what exactly are we trying to do in this course? So, strategic foresight is a scientific field that involves understanding the future and applying future-oriented insights to an organization's strategic activities and decision-making. So to make it simple, what are we talking about? We're talking about the future. We're talking about how life will be in the future. Based on signals and based on different tools, we're trying to envision the future. I'm not saying predict, because predict it's a very unclear word, you know, and to be honest, we cannot predict the future because future is so complex. There's so many little things and details can happen that directly predict the future we cannot do that, and we will not be doing this in this course. But what we will do is, based on some signals and snippets of information that we are getting right now, we will try to create scenarios of the future. We will try to see like 2 or 3 directions how the future can evolve. And we're talking about 5 years and 10 years and even longer. And we're going to be talking about how can I personally or as an organization, how can we take this information and include it in our strategy, in our organizational strategy, business strategy, corporate strategy, and as well personal strategy? How can we take this information and use it, right? And how can we prepare for different kind of scenarios? So this is the part of strategic management and foresight. And another part is innovation, and in this case, disruptive innovation. So what is disruptive innovation? It is a process by which a product or service takes root initially in simple applications at the bottom of the market and then relentlessly moves up market, eventually displacing established competitors. This is a very nicely worded definition of disruptive innovation by Clayton Christensen. He was actually the person who coined the idea of disruptive innovation and coined this the phrase. Unfortunately, he died, I think, the last year, but he did a lot of research in this area. And if you still don't know him, I really encourage you to read his research and articles and books. So, but what does it mean disruptive? Disruptive means it's something that completely changes the status quo in some industry, in the market, or in the way we're doing certain things. So in this case, disruptive innovations are this kind of innovations that will completely change the way we're doing business or completely change the way we are creating or producing certain things. And in this case, we kind of we put it on two ends. On one end, we have the incremental innovation, and on another one, we have the radical or disruptive innovation. So incremental innovation is an innovation that betters or makes innovation better little by little, so you're already using, for example, the product or certain technology, and you see, okay, maybe if I change here something little, there something little, maybe I can have a better process. It may be more efficient or maybe effective as well. So that is the incremental innovation. And disruptive innovation, it's the one that totally changes it. So basically, we have to dismantle everything that we know about the product, about the industry, about the market, and kind of create something totally new that solves the same problems, but in a totally different way, and and looks at the problem from a totally different perspective. So there are the two main basically topics of our course. So once again, we're going to be looking into future. We're going to be learning how to build scenarios, and we're going to be learning tools, and we're going to be looking into how to include this kind of information and this kind of ideas into our current strategies. And as well, mostly we're going to focus on disruptive innovations, are this kind of technologies that are completely changing the way we live, and that are changing very, very fast. So that is basically the main idea of the course. What about the general objectives of the course? To be honest, I have changed this objective a little bit in comparison to, for example, what you get in the brochure, because in the brochure, the objectives are, just for a general course and the one that we were planning in 2020. But as you can see, today we're not living in that time anymore. The world totally changed in the last 2 years. First, because of pandemic, and right now because of the war that is happening basically in the middle of Europe, something that didn't happen from the Second World War in the 40s, and basically as well in there are some rumors and thoughts that whether the Third World War may appear, and if they're going to be the use of the nuclear missiles and nuclear armament. So these are the two things that are totally changing the world, and the world is different. That's the truth, you know, the way I think we're already adapted, and as people say, we kind of reached the new normality. But this balance is a totally different kind of balance in comparison to what we had before, and we have to take it into consideration. And this is what I wanted to take into consideration as well in this course. I wanted to try to see this course through the perspective of what is happening, and as well maybe to try to think and maybe, you know, find the ways to deal with the uncertainty that we're living in. But to be honest, this kind of uncertainty and you know, volatile situations are not new for the world, and that is why a lot of researchers from like already sometimes we're talking about the world, and we describe it in the terms of our acronym that is called VUCA. And VUCA, it means that the world is very volatile, the world is very uncertain, the world is very complex, and the world is very ambiguous. And this acronym started to, you know, appeared when the USSR collapsed in 90s, and it was created by American military forces that very fast understood that the, you know, big enemy that they had in terms of the Cold War, for example, it was not there anymore, and the country that they feared for a long time is not there anymore, and it was, you know, dismantled many little pieces. So they understood, yeah, that everything can change very, very fast. That the world, you know, is not steady. It's a very volatile. It changes every day, and you have to be honest. You can see that everything, for example, in the last month was changing very, very fast due to the war. And the world is very uncertain because it's getting harder and harder to predict what's gonna happen. And that's that makes our job as, you know, futurists and, you know, people who prepare the foresight for the companies, it makes it very, very hard to actually do our job and predict and make scenarios. But we're going to talk about it. How can we deal with it as well? So the world is getting as well very complex because there's so many things that are happening. You know, the world is very globalized. Everything that happens on other side of the world affects you directly. We have more and more regulations. We have more and more complexity in terms of finances and for example, financial products, and on the social level as well, with the development of social media, everything changes. There are new social tendencies that appear. So it's getting more and more complex, and it's not going to be easier, you know. And ambiguous, the last one is that sometimes we don't really know where the truth is, you know, because or it's getting very, very hard to differentiate of, you know, what is good and what is bad, and to understand what kind of decisions you should make, you know, because with this complexity, we get a lot of angles on the same problems, and that, you know, and many of these angles, they kind of seem logical and reasonable as well. So many times we just don't understand what is the best option. So that is why I wanted to focus this course as well on this kind of ideas and from this kind of perspective, you know, from the perspective that we live in a virtual world. The second objective that I've stated for myself as well, and for, you know, for you, I want us to learn to make sense of this great amount of information that our society currently produces. And I want us to understand if we can actually deal with this amount of information, and if yes, how, and in what way, how can we really, you know, like, hear even our thoughts when there are so many thoughts that being, you know, produced and transmitted through social media and you know, internet in general. And as well, I want to kind of as well understand that, okay, as human beings, we do have limitations. And whenever we're building our scenarios, we need to understand that our brain is not ready and or was not built for this amount of information, and that we make mistakes. As human beings, we make mistakes, and that's okay as well. I mean, if it does not bring a lot of damage to the country or to the organization or to a particular community, it's still okay to make mistakes. Why? Because we're just humans and we have limited capacities. Another thing that, you know, the third point that I wanted to introduce in this course is I wanted to rediscover and the hope in humanity and in our common future. Let me tell you why. Because right now, being in Europe and, you know, talking to people, sometimes we ask ourselves whether our future will be better than our past, right? Because right now we see that the past was more stable, you know, that the past was developing. And when we think about the future, at particularly this point of time, you know, this day, we're asking if this future will even exist if the Third World War erupts in the middle of Europe, you know? So whenever you think of it, you know, when if you start thinking that there might be not, you know, future might not be there anymore, then it affects you. It affects you on so many levels. It affects you emotionally. It affects your plans and the ways you perceive life and your strategic objectives as well. And I see it. I literally see it among my coworkers and my students and my friends, that people are starting to look a little bit more pessimistically on our future. And I want to change that. I want to see if we can, you know, together. To be honest, it's the same with me, you know, I have the same doubts as well. And together I want to understand if we can have a better future, you know, and what should we do as a society to have a better future, you know, and better than it is right now, and even better than it was before. So that is the third point. And the fourth point, while we are doing this, I want us to find our inner power to see that we actually can change things, you know, because right now, you know, you being in India, me being in Spain, we don't really have any control or influence over whatever is happening in global politics and geopolitics, right? We have no way to influence the politicians who are making very disastrous decisions. And this kind of impotence is very bad as well, right? Because then you kind of say, okay, I can't do anything, then, you know, I won't do anything. And I want us to understand that that's not exactly the truth, that even, you know, we don't have so much influence on some bigger issues. We always have the power to change our lives and to change our minds and to change the lives of people that are around us and the communities that are around us. So I want us to get this power back and to see that we actually have this power and we can change things. And as well, on a little bit more personal level, I want us as a group, you know, and you personally, to discover your MTPs. It's something that we call, it's a massive transformative purpose, you know, and we're going to be talking about what is it. And I want to define our moonshots. So these are the general objectives of the course. Some specific objectives. We will refine our vision on the current state of the world. We will learn the strategic approach to our lives and business ventures. We will learn about scientific thinking and communication. And this is very important for me as well. I want to, I know that probably, you know, I don't know, the half of us or many of our group that are taking this course, we're already in the science and we understand the importance of scientific approach to processing data. But the thing is that not all people are conscious about it. And I want to show the, you know, all the importance of the scientific thinking approach. We will learn to ask great questions because right now with all the internet and AI, we'll probably have the answers for most of the questions. So right now, the most important part is start asking good questions and then use all the tools that we already have to get the answer, So that's right now the main job of human beings. We will see and uncover the megatrends that reshape our world. We'll talk about the exponential technologies or disruptive technologies that are changing this world. And we will learn to read and see the signals of the future, because whenever we're talking about the disruptive foresight or, strategic foresight, it's not that we are just guessing, it's about collecting little signals and saying, okay, here's the new technology that appears. What kind of changes this technology will make in 5 years or 10 years, right? So these are called signals, and we're going to be looking into that and how to see them and identify them, because in many times, if you're not conscious about it, you hear it or you see it as a little article in the newspapers. But the truth is that this little article talks about the very big things and new technologies that really can change our life drastically and very, very fast. So that's another point, and we're gonna learn to create scenarios and compelling visions of the future, and as well we will understand how to prepare yourself and your organization for perpetual disruptive changes, because the truth is that we are going through exponential and disruptive changes right now, and the future will be even better or worse depending on the perspective and the angle that you're looking into. Yeah, because this change is only accelerating, and it is accelerating exponentially, meaning very, very fast. And yeah, we'll need to understand how to deal with that, because if you don't see that it is important, it's going to be hard to function in a good organization and be valuable for any type of organization. But as well, very, very fast, you might find yourself personally disconnected from the world and disconnected from whatever is happening. So that is why it is so important to also apply whatever we're going to be studying or looking into in this course, to apply the same stuff into your personal life. Okay, so these are general objectives and specific objectives. So for whom are this course? Originally, the field of strategic foresight developed mostly in large companies and large firms, right? However, right now, many startups are using the ideas, because if you, as a little startup, your first question is, what do I do? If you want to open your business, first you have to create your idea, right? So, and it's very important to choose the idea wisely, because if you choose an idea that doesn't have a future, then what's the point of doing that? Maybe your business can survive 1 year, 2 years, but then everything changes and your business will be outdated very, very fast. So whenever entrepreneurs are starting their own businesses and trying to find that idea that will really bring them success, it's very, very important to put this idea in the context of the future. If this idea will survive in 5 years or 10 years, and if it's still going to be successful. Yeah, basically that. And as well, the foresight lately is used by the governments and international organizations, and you will see that the World Bank and the World Economic Forum, for example, they create a lot of reports about the future and foresight, where they're trying to predict what's going to happen. So, yeah. And to be honest, I don't know, the more I talk about it and the more I, teach about it, the more I understand how important is it, because once again, we can, as an organization and as a, personally human beings, we become outdated, and it sounds very bad, but we become outdated very, very fast. And if we are not able to catch up with the space, we'll be lost then very, very fast. It's probably one of the last things that I want to talk about the organization of the course. I really want it to be interactive, but we'll see if it is possible or not, technically. But once again, if you have any questions, doubts, please ask me. And if you have any opinions, please write, in the chat. Then we're gonna be looking at the strategic foresight as, from a holistic perspective, meaning that we're going to be looking at it from different angles and understanding that strategy and foresight does not have exactly the rules, and that it exists on many levels, on macro level, meso level, micro level, and that a lot of different aspects of life contributes to the foresight and the strategic management. So that's the first perspective. The second perspective is that I want this space to be safe for crazy ideas, right? And we're going to be talking about the value of these crazy ideas, because in most of the cases, and this is something that I've noted as well in India and culturally, and I was told about the same kind of stuff happening in Asian countries, is that there is always students, they kind of doubt to ask questions. They are not participative, they're not engaging in the conversations. And this is something that I really noticed my last time when I was in India. And if it is possible, I would like to change that, right? Because I know that there is maybe some kind of difference. Oh well, there is a difference between the professor and the student, but in the end, I see myself as a person. I'm not smarter than you, in any way. I just know certain things better, and I have more expertise and experience in these topics, and I'm just moving, several steps ahead of you. And that means that we can talk and that we can discuss. And if you disagree with me, it's okay. You disagree with me, you just have to give me the logic why you disagree, and give your um, back up your ideas more or less. So once again, I want it to be a safe space for crazy ideas, because crazy ideas are normally the disruptive ideas. It's something that nobody thought of, but that actually work. And if you have any, please share. And if if somebody shares their ideas and you see that you kind of don't understand them, you don't like them, please be kind. We have a pluralism of points of view. We accept any point of view. The only thing that you need to do is kind of to back up, and to explain why you think in a certain way. So just 3 points that I want you to remember: holistic view, safe space for learning, for expressing ourselves, expressing our doubts and crazy ideas. And the last is pluralism of points of view. We accept any point of view as long as it is explained and backed up. Okay, and that's it for the introduction.
Now the stage is open for all the participants. They can ask the questions one by one, or if the chat box is visible, they can write it in the chat box as well. But I want you to participate by asking the questions, or maybe by giving your suggestions, so that the course can be modified accordingly.
Yes.
Or maybe we'll add on some more contents based on that. Yes.
Yes, please, if you have any ideas for the course as well. I told you my perspective of how it should be done and what kind of topics I would like us to go through and understand. However, I want you to take this course and adapt it to your needs, right? Because you're doing stuff in your life and you have your questions and doubts. So I want us to have this space and to make the course, very moldable and adaptable to your needs. So yeah, if you have any suggestions, please, tell them now, or you can write them in the chat as well. Okay, I have some questions that I see in the chat.
Raghavan, you can ask the question directly, no problem.
Professor, I am Raghavan.
Nice to
I
meet
have
you.
written that question. I am basically a professor in the strategic management, and now I gather this idea that first you develop the strategic foresight and then get into the strategic management aspects. Am I right?
As I see it, strategic foresight is the part of strategic management. And at least this is how I always taught it. And yes, the idea is to understand what is going to happen to build and create your strategic objectives, right? And corporate objectives. And from that, you are building your strategies and you manage your strategies. So yeah, I would say that strategic foresight is a part of strategic management, and it's one of the first steps that you have to make, and undertake for the good strategic management in the firm.
Excellent.
However, I would
Thank you,
like
Professor
to,
Raghavan.
Dr. Tawar, let me finish. What I want to say is that that's the best case scenario when we start with strategic foresight. However, most of the companies, they do not have this luxury because they are already functioning. They're already, having their objectives and their business objectives, and they have to, comply with them and comply with the requirements of stakeholders and shareholders. So in many cases, there is already a strategic management in process, and there are already strategic objectives, and then companies add the strategic foresight and the perspectives of the future, and then it's an interesting balance of how do you connect or reconnect the the new goals with whatever goals you already had, and if there is actually a connection, or you have to like drastically change everything that you think and about the market or about your company, so that's another question as well. But yeah, definitely we start with strategic foresight and then we move down from the objectives to the processes.
Nice.
I get some messages that to share the PPTs. Yes, they will all be in the learning management system in the Schoology that I've told you about, and I'll ask Dr. Tamar to share the the code with which you can enter the system.
Surely, we'll share it after the session.
Yes.
Sir, I have a question. This is regarding the point that you have mentioned about moonshots. What are moonshots that you had mentioned in your initial slide, where we have to define our moonshots?
Okay. Have you ever heard of this idea of moonshots?
No, sir.
Okay, good. So we will talk about two important things in the course. First is the massive transformative purpose. And basically, this is the kind of statement and the idea of what do you want to do personally, and what do you want to do as a company. So that is, I don't know, let's say I'm an educator, right? And I want to change the world. My massive transformative purpose is to change the world through education and through immersive and hands-on educational programs. You know, this is my kind of vision and mission in life, you know? Okay, let's say it's my mission, you know, but a little bit stronger. And the moonshots are very specific goals that you might have as an entrepreneur or as a company. So let's say if my mission is to change the world through education, the moonshot will be, you know, to develop a certain program, let's say, that will change the lives, or that will, you know, be attended and change the life of a million people in 10 years. So this is a moonshot, and the name comes from the times when United States, they were sending the first people to the moon. And we will talk about it, but basically what was happening is that it was something so new for the human society that nobody knew how to send people to space, and nobody knew how to send people to the moon and how to land there, right? So, but it was such a very compelling vision, and they started to make, you know, very clear objectives. Okay, first we need to get out of the you know, the atmosphere, and then we need to get to the moon, and then we have to land. So there you start to have very clear objectives, and this is the moonshot, you know, something very, very inspiring, a big goal that is very, very challenging, but if you achieve it, you'll change the world, and you change yourself and your life forever. This is the moonshot.
Thank you, sir.
Um, okay, what else do I see in the chat? Yes, once again, the all the materials and presentations, and there will be some personality tests if you have time to, you know, go through them and participate. Everything is going to be in the learning management system. Let me share it with you. Okay, I've already closed. Yeah, in the end of our session, I'll just share the link to the learning management system and the code in the chat. So just in case you will already have it, and then Dr. Tawar will communicate additionally the same information. Okay. Any other questions? Any other doubts? Dr. Tawar,
Yes,
can we continue?
yeah, Professor Valerie, let me check. Do any one of you is interested in asking any other question? Because this session moves on in inaugural, so we don't want to waste our time. But I want you to participate fully, and you're like, I want you to ask some more questions if that is there in your mind, so that these are the questions which can give a direction to the course.
And Dr. Tomar, I think as well, this session is being recorded, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, so then later
Okay, if there is no more question, we can proceed
Mm-hmm.
to the topic.
Okay, good. Am I right that we have around 20 minutes more?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, good. Then let's start, and let's see till which point we can get. And okay, let me share my screen. Okay, I want to focus in this first session. We are already starting our course, and I want to talk about a VUCA world once again, and to show you how these changes are happening. and the level and of these changes and the stress on organizations and people. And as well, I want to talk and start talking about some ideas and exponential tendencies and technologies that are changing the world. We're going to start with it right now, just to motivate you a little bit and show you the importance of the course. And then we'll continue in a couple of sessions. So once again, the world is an acronym. It has some time, you know, it was developed in 1987. So basically, it's once again that the world is becoming more volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. Here in front of you, you can see the chart. I took it from the World Uncertainty Index. There is an index for uncertainty in this world. Can you imagine it? And here you can show, you can see the graph of the level of uncertainty of people from 1959 to 2019. And you can see how this level of uncertainty was changing, and as well what kind of events basically affected this uncertainty. And you can see that, you know, from 1959, there was a peak of when there was a recession in the United States. You know, you can see that a lot of stuff here, a lot of events are coming from the United States, but as well, you see other countries here. So 60 from 60s to 70s, you have this OPEC crisis with oil that were happening, and then in 90s you have Gulf Wars and a recession in United States after 9/11, then the war in Iraq. But you can see that the levels, let's say in 1959 they were around like a little bit more than 200 on their scale. However, in 2019, when the COVID hit the planet, it went up, like totally up from like 200 something to 900. Then it went down. Okay, this are basically the main event. So I want you to understand this. Uncertainty always exists, right? However, the levels of uncertainty, they change with the time and depending on the political situations all over the world. And in the last 3 years, we probably were in the period of the most uncertainty from 1959. And before that, we were talking about the Second World War, right? So I want you to understand the magnitude of the uncertainty that we're living in. And this is the graph I got just yesterday to update it from the same World Uncertainty Index. And you can compare it. Here's the zigzag here, the zigzag. So this is the coronavirus. And then after the first year of 2019, we understood what is it, we understood what can we do, and slowly we were going back to normality, and you can see the steep decrease in uncertainty. However, they don't have the data yet for the beginning of 2020, but I guess we're gonna be back here or even up. So that's the uncertainty we're living in. The major things that are happening right now is, we're still battling with COVID. Hopefully we're out of this, but to be honest, I don't know. I'm still, waiting for some kind of a new strain appearing, and yeah, I really hope that it's not going to happen. And once again, all this and the war that is happening right now in Europe, and the possibility of a third world war and nuclear attacks. I want to share with you the quote of Spencer Funk. He is one of the richest people in China, and he worked with artificial intelligence, if I'm not mistaken. And he said that, I look at the pace of the change, I look at the uncertainty in geopolitics, I look at the massive dislocation and rearrangement of global supply chains. There is no way anybody can predict what's going to happen in 5 years. The uncertainty we see today is unprecedented in the like in comparison to everything that happened in the last 40 years. So it's visible. You don't even have to believe it. You see it and you understand it and you feel it in your own personal life. So I want to distinguish right now in your mind a couple of terms and couple of concepts. First is local and linear, and second is global and exponential. And we're going to be talking in these terms for some time, and these terms are super important for our course and for your understanding of disruptive technologies and disruptive changes that are happening currently in our world and society. So what does it mean? What's the difference? Human beings developed thousands of years ago in the savannas of Africa. And the thing is that right now, everything about us, our body, our mind, the way we act, it is still based on the world of the past. And I'm talking of the world once again when human beings, appeared as human beings, Of course, I mean, there are different perspectives on where the human beings appear, but in any way, the society as we know it, we know that it came from Africa. So basically, everything about us is prepared to live in that kind of times. However, right now we understand that the world is totally different, and that creates a big gap, and I would say even cognitive dissonance of what humans are and what the world is. And before, the world was very local, right? So means that you lived in one place, probably several generations of your family lived in the same place with the same kind of neighbors, and you were affected only by events that happened in a walking distance from your village or from your house, right? And that's it. You never knew anything what was happening even on the other side, I don't know, of the huge mountains or definitely on the other side of the world. However, today you see that the world changed totally, right? And we're going to be talking about it. And as well, the world was very linear. What does it mean? It means that there were not a lot of changes that were happening, throughout generations. It means that, your great grandparents, okay, it means that you lived as your parents and your parents lived as your grandparents and your grandparents lived as your great grandparents, so there was not a lot of change. And I'm talking about the thousands of years ago, right? However, today the world is totally different. We can see that everything that is happening on the other side of the world can affect you directly, so the virus that probably started in China affected the whole world, right? Because of that, 2 years ago, I was waiting and I was excited to come to India and give this course physically, and I was not able to, and affected my plans personally, right? That's one thing. And then, so that's why the world is global, so we have this antagonism between local and global. And then we have antagonism between linear and exponential. So linear, it's once again when everything, is the same throughout several generations. And right now, the world is changing and the things are changing year to year, or to be honest, right now, month to month, because the speed of change is accelerating. So whenever we're talking about futurism and whatever we're talking about the foresight, I want you to understand. Before, we lived in a local and linear world, and everything about us, our mind and our body, is built for that kind of world. However, right now we're living in a global world, and that is exponential. And we need to understand how can we, continue living in this world? How can we adapt as human beings for the new realities? So, and once again, this kind of stuff creates our limitations. And why it is important? Because we need to understand if our prognosis for the future is based on facts, if it's how to say relevant, or we're looking it through our own eyes and our own perspective, and we're not seeing some kind of problems that we might have in the future, right? So that's the main point, and that's why I'm talking about human beings as well, and that we were built for different kind of reality. So, as a little tip for you or exercise, whenever you're going to be, whatever you're going to be doing after this course, having a dinner or, going for a walk in the university, think of the situations when you make local assumptions where it should be global, for example, or when you think linearly when something is actually exponential. So here's the little work and exercise for you. This is the first one. So what's the difference between the linear development and disruptive change, right? So the linear development, it means that I know what's going to happen in future. So if I take, for example, 30 steps, I know that I will be 30 meters away from where I'm standing, right? So in this way, I can predict where I'm going to be, based on the direction and the number of steps. And I can build my life on that prediction, and that prediction is very close to reality. And this is how the world was throughout centuries. However, right now, we're not moving at this pace anymore, and we are moving with exponential steps. What does it mean? It doesn't. It's not that we make one step, the second step, the third step. Is that we're kind of jumping the steps in the ladder. So first it's 1, and then it's 2, and then it's 4, and then it's 8, and then it's 16. So if you make 30 linear steps, you're going to be 30 meters away from where you started. If you make 30 exponential steps, you're going to be 1 billion meters away from the point that you started. And basically you will, go around the world 26 times. So that's the power of exponential change that I want you to understand, right? That we are jumping with exponential steps. And it means that we're getting faster and faster. And the difference between where we are and where we're going to be in 30 steps, it's just ginormous. Can you imagine it, 30 meters and 26 times around the world, around the globe. I want you to really absorb it and feel the difference because the difference is there, we're going to be talking about it. The airplanes appeared not long time ago, right? What was it, like the 30s? Yeah. And in our lifetime, we are already flying all over the world, and the airplanes, they're becoming a little bit faster. But at the same time, we are already flying drones on Mars, and once again, the difference is just totally huge and very, very big. And we need to understand it and kind of be prepared to it. So this is actually the power of exponentials and exponential growth. And this is just a little table for you to, to see and understand that, it's the power of doubling. If we double something, one time we get two. If we double something 10 times, it's going to be 1,000 times more. If we double something 20 times, it's going to be 1 million more. And if we double 30 times something, it's going to be, we're talking about the 1 billion of a change. And a couple of additional examples. For example, if you double the piece of paper, the piece of paper is less than 1 centimeter. It's like 0.13 millimeters thick. If you double it 50 times, okay, first of all, it's probably impossible, but if you still can double it, so what would be the thickness of this, doubled paper? So if you fold the paper 11 times, it's going to be 1 inch. If you fold the paper 20 times, the thickness would be of a football field. If you double 38 times the same sheet of paper, you would make the tour around the Earth. So this is the power of exponentials. Oh, and if you make it like 50 times fold, you'll get to the sun. Another interesting example that I want you to remember, and maybe even if you know it, there is a myth that the character from, actually, I think he was from India, Sisa, so invented the first version of chess, that was called Chaturanga. And the emperor, by the time he really liked the game, he was very fond of it, and he asked if Sisa wanted some kind of award for his amazing game. And Sisa said, you know what? I want you to give me grain, of wheat or rice by the time, but I want you to give me as much as I can put on the board of the chess. If I'll be putting 1 grain and I would be doubling it each time, So, and you will see that if you put an exponential amount of grains on the first row of the chessboard, we're talking about 7 doublings, then it's going to be 128 grains of rice or wheat. If we put, or if we fill the first half of the board, then we're talking about 32 doublings with the rice, with exponential form, they're going to be 2.1 billion grains of rice. And we're talking about 10,000 kgs of rice. And if we fill the entire board in this exponential way with rice, we are talking about 64 doublings. And basically, it is 461 billion tons of rice. And if you put it all together, it may be, as high as the Mount Everest. So this is the real power of exponential and exponential technology. So, okay, I think that's it for today. Let's stop here. Just to summarize, once again, I'm very happy to welcome you in this course, and I'm very happy to be there and to guide you. Secondly, all the information that we are discussing, it will be in the learning management system, and we're going to provide the code for that. Thirdly, this course is basically about trying to understand what's going to happen in the future. With the understanding that our world is changing, and kind of with understanding of the context of the world today. And during this course, we will try to see the technologies and see the signals, but mostly I want us to understand how can we deal with this information as human beings. How can we process information? How can we see our limitations as human beings? And how can we create a vision of the future and the scenario of the future that might be, the closest to what is gonna happen. Okay, and yeah, the last thing is that we as human beings, we are built to live in a linear and local world. However, our world is not that anymore, and we are living in a global and exponential world where the change is exponential, where the pace of change is exponential, and exponential means that there are going to be huge differences in where we are and where we are going in a very short period of time. That's it for today. Once again, thanks a lot for being here and for joining the course. If you have any doubts, I'm here to answer them. If not, I'll see you tomorrow at the same time. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Valerie, to teach us in a very well set manner about the linear and the local and global and exponential, and what do we mean by strategic foresight, and how we need to develop it, and how it could be a part of strategic management, how we can plan for future uncertainty, how we can think of, and how we can design all those things. Correct me if I'm wrong somewhere else. And thanks for such a wonderful session. And now I'd like to move to the participants if they have any of the questions. And from tomorrow onwards, we'll do one thing that will start exactly at 4 p.m. We'd like to go for a 5 to 10 minutes break after an hour, and then further on, we'll start with the session. So in case of any other additional things you're looking for from this course, you can just write it here in the chat box. You can ask queries, you can write it directly to me. And we would like all these study material available on Schoology and LMS system, so that each one of you can go through it and will be timely a part of this course. I want all of you people to try take maximum benefit out of the expert whose availability is here. He is an expert in this field, and he is very open for discussion and would like to. And together only we all can connect and gain knowledge and explore it for further research and other purposes. So I want you people to think in those lines and ask as many questions. With this, is my voice is audible? With this,
yeah,
I would like to thank Professor Valerie to accept our invitation and be a part of this course. And actually, he is always so welcoming that whenever we invite him for anything, he is always ready and say yes. He's not so much apart from us in terms, he may be apart in terms of distance, but not in terms of knowledge dissemination. So thank the GIAN course initiatives taken by them. I'm thankful to all the participants, the faculty members from different reputed institutes, the research scholars, industrialists, students, and I hope from tomorrow onwards they will come with more and more of the questions so that we can make it more lively in that sense. And I'm thankful to all the university authorities which are helping me throughout, providing by their support to conduct this program in such a smooth manner. And for all suggestions, we are open. We are open for your feedback as well. Yes?
yes.
I'll be happy enough if any one of you will come forward for any sort of suggestions or feedback.
Tea break will delay the session.
Pardon, sir?
The moment somebody goes for the tea break, instead of coming in 5 or 10 minutes, they will take 15 minutes.
But
So
sir,
we'll
you
be
would have
losing.
observed, that we are very punctual of continuity of the session. Reason being, expert also need some energy in between
Okay.
because to speak for 2 hours
Let's
is
go
too
for
much.
10 minutes break and come back.
Not exactly 10 minutes. We can say 5 minutes. No
Excellent.
issue.
Very good.
Meanwhile, we can entertain some questions also. If somebody is having any queries, they can have a direct talk with me too.
Madam, I had just have one query.
Yes, sir.
Madam, the tomorrow's session is on a conceptual framework of strategic foresight, systemic thinking, as per the schedule. So, do we have any reading to do before we come for the class tomorrow?
If there would be anything of that sort, Professor Valerie will let me know and we'll forward the things to you in advance. But in any
Exactly.
case, it's wonderful that you are aware with the topic that's going to be discussed tomorrow. So I want you people to go through whatever is available to you so that you can think in different direction of whatever is taught in the class. You can have some questions to ask. Isn't it?
Yeah. And once again, there are no surprises in terms of readings. Everything that you need is going to be provided, and I'm going to tell you about it during the class.
I'll send you the link on mail. Or I hope by this time you would have joined the WhatsApp group. In all the way, I'll try my level best to send you the link of that element so that all study material will be made available to you. Okay? Yes. Any other queries? Actually, we are here for you only.
Okay. Well, if there are no any questions, once again, you can write me anytime you want and need. And if not, yeah, we can finish for today and start tomorrow again.
In fact, I would like to mention one thing that due to already busy schedule of Honorable Vice Chancellor, sir, he is not able to join us today. Maybe he will join tomorrow. And I'm very thankful to a local coordinator, the local GIAN coordinator, Professor Gunjan Goel, sir, who is again a strong support to me and conducting all this course. And definitely by tomorrow, we may plan something more to make it a smooth session. And your suggestions are always welcome on WhatsApp, on mail, or whatever the way you would like to. So once again, thanks a lot to all the participants. Thanks, Professor Valerie.
Thank you.
So now we
Thank you,
dismiss.
sir. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.